Yee, yee, skirt, yee, yee, skirt, 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 roll up, yee, drop that, yee, skirt that, yee, pop that, yee, hey, hey, hey.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to What's Poppin' with Leah and Duca. As always, I am Leah.
And I'm Duca.
So today we thought that we would start talking to you about Netflix originals. Some of these things are movies, some of them are shows. Actually, I take that back. I think all these are shows.
Except for Enola Holmes. That is a movie.
Oh,
but
yes.
most of them are shows.
Most of them are shows. And we're going to talk about some ones we liked. We're not going to talk so much about the ones we didn't like specifically, because we want to leave that up to you. But we will discuss kind of how well they turn out and our opinions on them as a whole. So, what are your thoughts on Netflix originals in general, Duca?
I honestly feel that they have gotten a lot better. I remember when Netflix, I'm going to really date myself here, when Netflix kind of first started coming out with originals, which I can't remember the exact timeline, but it was a long time ago, and they really sucked, and I couldn't get into them, and now there's some really decent Netflix originals, some that I kind of obsess over, as I obsess over everything. So.
Yeah. No, I agree, because I think when we were talking about things to talk about on this podcast, I thought this was going to be a more interesting thing to talk about, because I remember there being so many terrible Netflix originals, but now they've all gotten so much better, and some of them are my favorite shows. If you listen to our last podcast, where it's our favorite shows and movies and things, you're going to notice that a lot of them are either on Netflix or are Netflix originals. So it's I think it's kind of interesting how much better they are these days.
Yeah, and just how more popular Netflix has gotten in general, because to be honest, I feel like I use Netflix for streaming stuff way more than any other platform.
Yeah.
So,
I think I have to say the one thing about Netflix originals, because back when they were really bad, every single one of them was really bad, there wasn't really another option, or at least for me, because I've never had Hulu or Roku or anything else really. I've never had another streaming option. But now my family has Disney Plus. So I think it's interesting because now if Netflix has nothing I want to watch on it, I will go and just watch shows that I used to watch when I was younger on Disney Plus. It's because they're not as bad. I think in my head they just seem bad because I have another option now.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I will say I have been watching Disney Plus a lot more since I finally got access to our account again.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like Netflix is still pretty high up there for me. If I'm looking for something, the first thing that I'm going to start on is probably Netflix. And then I'll move on if they don't have what I'm looking for. But
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So I think the first one I want to talk about, and this will come as no surprise to anyone, is Enola Holmes.
Yes, I think we should start there. There's a lot to start with. And it's such a good movie to start with.
Oh my god. I mean, okay, here's the thing. I wrote an article about this for The Herd not that long ago. You should check it out. It's pretty fun. I don't know. So the concept of Enola Holmes is it's about Sherlock Holmes, the detective that we all know and love. It's his little sister, and I don't want to give too much away. So I'm just going to say spoiler alert for all of these. In case we say something, we do not want to be held responsible. But it's basically about Enola Holmes' life, and her mother raises her. Both of her brothers, Mycroft and Sherlock, don't live with them anymore, and her mother raises her until one day her mother goes missing. Dun dun dun. I know. And she goes off on her own little adventure. Now, when I first saw any commercial or ad for this, I was nervous because in recent history, when anyone tries to take a classic and try to make it give it a feminist twist, it never ends well, in my opinion. Because it's always they ruin it at the end, or they make it really cheesy.
It's really cheesy, and it's they're trying to get somewhere with it, and it's just they just don't hit it.
Yeah, they usually start out getting there, and then they just are just kidding, we're just gonna throw it all away. Yeah. We wasted your time. But I cannot say enough good things about Enola Holmes. I would watch it 3,000 times. in a row. Not in my lifetime. I'd watch it more in my lifetime. But, and also, so it's Millie Bobby Brown, is Enola Holmes. And
Yes.
I don't know if we talked about this on this podcast, but I've never seen Stranger Things.
I know. I know you don't really that much either. We're not
Like,
gonna get it.
I tried watching it. I just got bored. And I should love that show. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I know, that was really surprising to me that you didn't like it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try again, because I only got like 5 episodes in.
Okay, I was gonna say you have to watch like 4 episodes, but maybe to get
I was
into
so
it,
bored.
never mind.
No, but when I saw the ads for Enola Holmes, I saw that Millie Bobby Brown was the star. And I was like, okay, good for her. And I feel like for a lot of people, that would have been a reason to watch it. But for me, it, like, didn't take away or add anything, because I'm like, I literally have no idea what her work looks like. But oh my god, I'm impressed by that girl. Like,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I really don't like Millie Bobby Brown that much. Like, I was never a fan of her. People are gonna now hate me because of that, but it's fine. But I agree that she really embodied that role super well. And just like the character itself, like, I've never seen her in a role like that before, like, ever. And she just played such a good, like, clever, cunning, and, like, very feminist, strong woman. And it was really, really nice to see.
Yeah, I feel like, honestly, she just really embodied it, and, like, she really went for it. Like, she didn't just, like, yeah, I'm gonna try, but not that hard. Like, she full-fledged went for it. And, like, her chemistry with the other actors was really good. And most of the other people in this movie are, like, significantly older than her. And they've been in the game for a long time. So there's, like, Helena Bonham Carter, who you might know as, like, Bellatrix Lestrange. She was in Les Mis. I love her, too. Wait, Duca froze again.
Okay.
Hold on. Duca's back now. Okay.
Okay, hi. I was just saying that I love her. She was also in Sweeney Todd.
Oh yeah,
right?
She's been in everything.
Was.
Oh, wasn't she was like the Queen of Hearts in the
She was the Queen of Hearts.
Alice in Wonderland remake. Yeah. No, and okay, I thought it was really interesting because she always plays like the creepy, kind of like psychotic female character, but in this she was supposed to be like a loving mother. Type person.
Really, okay. I was really thrown off about it because I thought that she was going to be creepy because I've never seen her in a role where she's not some type of villain or some weird messed up person. But she also did a really good job in this role. And, like, it was really, really nice to see her actually, like, playing a decent person for once.
No, I know. It's so funny because the first time I watched this, it was with my mom. And I kept telling her, because my mom and I will, like, try to predict what's going to happen. And I'm like, I swear, if Bellatrix Lestrange becomes a bad person in this, like, if she is the bad guy, I'm going to throw hands with someone. Because, like, it would just be, like, that would be the most predictable thing they could have done for Helena Bonham Carter. But they did not. Spoiler alert. They did not. Very happy about it. And then Henry Cavill, I mean, I've not seen a lot of his work, but my God.
I'm not really that attracted to men even, and I think that he is, like, astounding. Like, holy crap. That man.
I'm not going to disagree with you. No, the funniest thing is he is the most recent Superman. And up until this movie, I don't think I realized he was British. Because, like, you know, Superman's not British. So when I heard his voice, I was like, oh, wait, Superman's British now? And, like, I thought he did a really good job. So he played Sherlock, and Sam Claflin played Mycroft, who is, like, kind of the bad brother, if you will, to put a archetype on it. But I think they both did really well of kind of bouncing off each other, because the whole point of their relationship was not to, like, dislike each other. Like, they actually got along well. But then, like, they had differing opinions when it came to, like, Enola and women. Because a large part of the plot is that Mycroft wants Enola, because he's technically her guardian after the mother disappears. So he wants her to, like, become a proper woman and go to finishing school and get married. Like, you know, all the stereotypical things that a man would have wanted a woman to be and do back then. Because this takes place in, like, I want to say the 1800s. Right?
Yeah, did it specific date? I don't know. Somewhere in the 1800s.
Yeah, so it's, like, kind of like him, and then Sherlock, like, supports Enola in, like, wanting to become a detective or like not wanting to get married, like something like that, which is more her style. So I think they all did a really good job of like having their individual relationships with each other, but then like overall making like the family dynamic work despite their age differences and like their different, just their history of different movies and shows in general.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It was a really like a cast that you wouldn't think would work that well together,
No.
but they really worked fabulous together.
Yeah. And the movie, I was so excited about it. Like, honestly, I wish it was a show because I would watch every episode. Like, I want more because it ended well. Like, the story was good.
I'm not sure. Are they going to make a sequel?
Okay, so I was doing some research because I wanted to know. And it doesn't sound confirmed. I think they're kind of talking about doing something, but I don't think it'll happen for like a few years, if not longer.
Gotcha.
But there were like discussions about it because I think it was so popular on Netflix. And honestly, I have to say, like, especially, I feel like we all watched a lot of things during quarantine and all that. So I feel like whenever something new comes out, we're just gonna watch it because we're like starved of new content. But it usually turns out really bad. But this was like the first one in a long time that I was super excited about and like really legitimately enjoyed.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It blew me away. Like, I had low hopes going into the movie,
Mhm.
because it's a Netflix original.
Mhm.
Sorry, Netflix. But it was really good. Like, it exceeded any like expectations that I could have had for it, and
Mhm.
like it was just really, really good. Really, go watch it. It's
Yeah.
worth it.
I have to say, like, the thing I appreciate the most is I feel like a lot of movies that are remakes or like adaptations of classic stuff that are supposed to be more feminist sort of themed or in nature, they always like kind of ruin it at the end by having like the girl get married or having her like give up her job or something to go be with a like, something like that that like would still kind of play into the stereotype of what a woman should do. But I really appreciate that they kind of set this all up as Enola Holmes does not want to be that kind of person. And there is like a potential love interest. That's a spoiler alert, as I mentioned. But I loved how at the end they didn't like throw them together. Like, I don't think they even kissed once through the movie.
No, they like touched hands briefly through the
Oh,
fence.
scandal.
Scandalous.
No, but like I just really appreciate that they didn't throw away all of their work because I was worried that they were gonna be like, they are now getting married.
Oh my god, I know. I would have actually puked, but it's fine.
Yeah, but that's honestly, yeah. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being this is terrible, I would never watch this again, I wish I could erase it from my memory, and 10 being this is the best thing I've ever watched, where are you at with Enola Holmes?
Give it a 9, honestly.
Not, that's, I was gonna say 10, but we all knew that, so.
I mean, I feel like there's things that I would rank above it, so that's why I can only give it a 9.
Oh, that's
but
fair.
like that's still that's a pretty high rating for me. I always like rate things very low. So.
I'm gonna
Shout
say
out to all the restaurants I've ever rated.
I'm gonna say it's a 10 for me on like the Netflix original scale. Like if you're comparing other movies and stuff, there's probably better ones. Actually, no, I'm gonna take that back. No, I feel confident in my 10 rating. I take everything I just said back. Okay, so
I'm gonna turn on my lights. Hang on 1 second. I'm sorry, I can't see.
Can I get a timeout? Can I get a timeout? Duca is momentarily pausing.
Oh, that's too dark still.
Oh, her TikTok lights are on. Don't worry.
Okay.
Great.
Okay.
Let's start back in. So the next Netflix original I want to talk about is Gilmore Girls: A Year in the Life. Now,
yes. If
you listened to our last podcast, you might remember that Gilmore Girls was one of my actually, it might be my all-time favorite TV show. It has a really special place in my heart. My family all loves it. So when they announced, I believe in 2017, that they were going to come out with, it wasn't a sequel, but it was like a continuation into like the family's adulthood, sort of. That's how I like to think about it. We were super excited because we love the show. The final season of the like Gilmore Girls itself wasn't the best, we thought, because the new directors kind of ruined everything, and we never got to see like where the individuals ended up, like because we see Rory go off to college, but we never see really what happens afterwards, and the whole series kind of surrounds her wanting to be a journalist. So I was really excited about this one.
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh wait, Duca froze. We're having a lot of technical difficulties.
I'm going to murder my Wi-Fi.
Okay, I'm sorry, you were
Anyways,
saying?
So I haven't seen it yet, but like my mom watched it without me, so she really liked it though.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. I would like to talk about this with her because I didn't unlike it. Like, it was good, I guess. I mean, I don't want to spoil anything because I feel like if you're a Gilmore Girls fan, if I spoil this, it will be like a lot of spoilers that are like kind of significant. But so I'm going to try not to get into the plot, but it kind of just talks about the families individually after the show ended originally. I believe Rory is like 32 at this point. I guess in real Gilmore Girls, I was disappointed in her character anyways. But in the reboot, they really, really messed her up. Like,
I know, okay. I know that it kind of, this is a spoiler alert, so
be
don't
warned.
listen.
You have been warned.
But I know that at the end, it kind of comes full circle where, like, she's pregnant and, like, single. Because my mom spoiled it for me, but...
Okay, well, if we're gonna get into it, because I'm willing to get into it. I wasn't going to.
It.
Yeah, let's get into it. So, okay, here's my thing. When the first few seasons, like, so my family pretty much binge watched the original series because that's who we are. And in the original, like, 3 seasons, I really liked Rory because she kind of, I don't know, she was really relatable to me because she had no reason specifically that she had to go to Harvard and become a journalist, but like her ambition and like her drive made her want that. And like personally, I've always been the kind of person who like puts a lot of pressure on themselves school wise for no apparent reason. Like, you know, it's really unhealthy. But like I feel like in TV you don't see a lot of characters like that. And another thing was she always carried around a book no matter what. And I used to do that. I mean, I still do that. I just don't read as much, but I literally would bring books with me everywhere because my family would bore me at dinner and I would read instead. So I wish I was kidding. At lunch, I used to read my book and my friend would be sitting across from me. And she'd be like, Leah, aren't you going to talk to me? And I was like, I was hoping to read my book. And then she'd like get mad at me. So it was really refreshing to see like a bookish female character who was still like funny and had a personality. But then, okay, this is gonna be a spoiler alert for like parts of the actual series, so just be warned. She makes a lot of choices that I feel Rory would not have done. For instance, at one point she is sleeping with her ex-boyfriend who is now married. And that, like, I don't know, just her whole like adolescence, she shows that she would not be that kind of person. And then she like does it. So we move on from that. We're like, okay, she made a mistake. She thought she had feeling, whatever. But then she steals a boat at one point for like no reason. We're like, okay, that was dumb. Like you'd think that she'd have more common sense than that because she's a smart person. And we're like, okay, she was like with her boyfriend and his friends, so we can just assume that she made these decisions because of them. And then in the reboot, she sleeps with her ex-boyfriend who, and this is what really gets me, at the end, like, so when she graduates in the original series from college, they went to college together, they were dating, and he proposes to her, like, on graduation day. And she says no, which is fine. Like, I get it. You might not be ready for marriage yet. But then this same boyfriend, now that she's, like, a reporter, she's traveling around the world, she'll go and see him in London, where he is in the house with his fiancée, and she will have an affair with him for like the entirety of the reboot. And that made me really mad because they kind of destroyed her character. Like they tried to maintain it by showing how she was like stressed out and still had a lot of drive. But they kind of ruined the parts of her that I really liked, which was that she was, like, kind of not pure. Like, she wasn't innocent, specifically. It's just she seemed like a good person, and I feel like they kind of made her into a terrible person who makes really bad choices all the time. And then at the end, she ends up pregnant, and you don't know whose child it is because she slept with a few other people at this point. But, like, she is such a terrible person. What'd you say?
As the Mamma Mia music starts playing in the background.
Love that.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I know I'm going on a rant about this, but I'm very passionate because, like, and in the reboot, she has a boyfriend that, like, the running joke throughout, like, the reboot series is that she doesn't remember him. Like, she keeps forgetting about him, and Lorelai and Luke can't remember his name. Like, it's a running gag, and is it hilarious? Yes. But, like, in reality, like, if you saw that, you'd be like, what a terrible person. Like, she should just break up with him. Like, I just feel like they made her character something it should never have been.
That's fair. That's kind of annoying.
I'm still very mad about it. Can you tell?
It's okay. It'll be okay.
We have to move on now. We haven't rated it. I forgot. We're gonna have to cut this chunk out.
I have no say in this because, like, I haven't watched it.
Okay, so Duca hasn't watched it, so she can't rate it. I'm gonna rate this. I think I'm gonna give it like a 6 or a 7.
That was a lot higher than I thought you were going to rate it. I was expecting you to go into negative numbers.
No, because here's the thing. I still enjoyed it. I might go 5 or 6, because I enjoyed it, and it's, as a Gilmore Girls fan, it was really nice to see, like, a continuation. And it's not the reboot's fault that she became a bad person. It's just a continuation of that. But it was nice to see, like, where everyone kind of ended up. And it was honestly a decent show. It's just I'm mad because I was a fan for a long time before it, so... Yeah, I enjoy it, though.
Okay. That's fair.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Can we do a series of unfortunate events?
I think we should, yes.
I think we should. Okay. So, I'm going to be honest. I read all the books for it, and I watched the movie, and I hated the movie, so I was not excited for the series at all.
Fair.
At all. But this is, like, honestly, this series, I kind of like a little bit more than the books.
Okay, wait, so quick question, just to, like, for context for me. Did you read the books when you were, like, younger, before this was a thing?
I read the books in probably 5th or 6th grade, so yes.
Okay. So I think this is really interesting because I never read that series of books by Lemony Snicket. I read other books by him. I never got into it because I thought it was scary when I was young. Like, I didn't know anything about them. I just assumed they were scary because of the title. And I don't think I've ever seen the movie. I think I started to watch it when I was younger and I got scared of Jim Carrey, which, like, fair.
That is so valid.
Like, honestly, I still kind of am, but... So, like, I've never seen the movie. So I think this is going to be really interesting because we have two very different perspectives on this.
Yeah, I think I did know. So, yeah. A series of unfortunate events on Netflix was, like I said before, I liked it better than the books. I feel like it just covered a lot more, and it was very, very accurate to the books. I feel people will say otherwise, but as far as book to series, like TV series goes, I feel like they were just about as accurate as they could make it. And I was really impressed by it. I thought the casting for it was really good.
On point.
And it was. And it really matched the characters in the books. Like, that was the biggest issue that I had with the movie, is that the characters in the movies were so different from the books. And these characters were actually as the book described them. And Neil Patrick Harris, I mean, that was, like, the best person they could have picked to play. Like, what's his face? What's his name?
Count Olaf.
Yes, Count Olaf. Neil Patrick Harris was, like, the best person they could have cast to play him. Like, don't get me wrong, I really like Jim Carrey, but I just don't feel like he fit this role very well.
No, so, like, I agree, though, because, so personally, this came out, I think, when we were in, like, middle school. So I was a little too old, I think, to be reading these books. But so the first season, I think, covered, like, half the books, right? Wasn't that?
Yes.
Yeah, so I started watching it, because I had heard, like, it was being hyped up so much. There was a lot of commercials, And honestly, I at first was like, Neil Patrick Harris agreed to do this? That's so weird. Like, it just did not seem like his type of thing at all. But I was like, I'm intrigued. So I started watching it and I really liked it. So I was like, I'm going to read the books. And I agree that it's like, it was like almost word for word the same. Like, not in a bad way, like in a good way. Um, and I thought it was really cool how they had so many Easter eggs, like, in just like in the backdrops and stuff. And like I just thought honestly like just the cinematography itself was really cool. I thought the scenes were really interesting to look at. Like it had that kind of cartoonishness.
Yeah, it had like I know what you mean. Like it felt like kind of like a cartoon, but like it's real people. It was kind of trippy.
Yeah. No, and so I read the books like kind of while I was watching the show. And so I was super excited when I hadn't finished the series when the second season came out. And I obviously watched that in like one afternoon because I was so hyped for it. And I was really disappointed in the ending, honestly.
I mean, okay. I feel like yes, the ending kind of sucks, but
I mean, it's the same. It is the same as the book. Again,
exactly,
it's accurate to the book.
That's kind of why like I can't argue with it because it matched the book. Like I hated the ending in the books equally as I hated the ending in the series.
Yeah.
I feel like there was no better way that they could have done it. Well, I guess there was, but not how Lemony Snicket is. Like Lemony Snicket, he likes those like saucy bad endings.
No, because like I get why he did it because it is a series of unfortunate events, so it couldn't be like a happy ending, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was depressing. I was like, this was a kid's book. Like I couldn't believe that was how that ended.
I'm surprised my mom let me read it, to be honest, and that she didn't question it afterwards. Like, she never once asked me if I was okay after I read this, and I feel like she should have been more concerned.
It should have been. She should have been more concerned. No, and like you said, the casting, my God. Like, and also, it was kind of an all-star cast for, like, what it was. Like, okay, the thing is, I think this was intentional, but when I say it looked cartoonish, it almost looked kind of like low-budge, like, cheesy, but, like, in a good way. And it obviously, it cost, like, I think millions of dollars to build those sets. I remember looking this up. But it was weird, because, so it had Neil Patrick Harris as, like, the main character, Patrick Warburton, who I love, by the way, as Lemony Snicket. And wasn't Nathan Fillion was in it?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, and Joan Cusack was in it, which I was like, this does not seem like the kind of thing that she would sign up to do.
Right.
And then Tony Hale, when he showed up, I was like, excuse me, Buster, what are you doing here?
Yeah, that's right.
I was just like, oh, I see. We're crossing genres.
I feel like, there was just so many good, like, actors and actresses that just kept on popping up through the series that just made it so much better.
And I thought that was kind of cool, too, because it's like you see people that you recognize, like, in a show that you like, you know?
Yeah.
No, but I agree. The casting was really well done, and I thought that the actors did a good job of being, like, true to the character. Because I feel like part of it is the commitment that the actors put into the character they're playing, because if they don't commit all the way, it will come out not really being the best it could have been, I think. And I feel like it was Melina Weissman and Louis Hines were like the two older siblings, and they both did a really good job, I think. And I really enjoyed watching at least the first season. The second season I didn't like as much, but I feel like that's true for like most things in life, you know?
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like that was just kind of the books in general too, because I really didn't enjoy the books as they got further along. Like I almost didn't finish it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure after I watched the second season, I like kept reading a few, and then the library didn't have some of them in. So then I was like, you know what? This is just my excuse to not have to go through that pain again. So, so what would you give it out of 10?
I mean, I would give it an 8 on the basis that it just wasn't my favorite like series that I ever read or ever watched. Like I was into it, but I wasn't part of like that fandom. Like Harry Potter or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm giving it an 8 because it just wasn't a a big part of my life, or a big part of like the life that I enjoyed, because it was depressing. But
I mean, true.
But like you said, like the filming of it was awesome. The cast has great energy. So yeah, a solid 8.
I was gonna say a 7 or an 8 too, because I think if we're doing it for the whole series, season 1 would get way higher than season 2 if we were doing like individually. I think overall, I personally did get into this fandom for a while. Like, I was obsessed with this show. My friend actually bought me like a candle that smelled like the muffins that they eat or whatever. I still have it. Like, it's sitting right there. I can see it.
I love that
But
so much.
yeah, and like I was drawing pictures. Like, I was getting into this. So it's not because I wasn't into it. It's just because I think the second season kind of ruined it. I definitely think it's worth watching though, because it is, to me, it's like comforting. It's because it kind of reminds me, like, even though I didn't read the books as a kid, it reminds me of like when I was younger for some reason. Like, it just kind of gives off that vibe.
Yeah, I mean, it brings me back to my childhood for sure, because like I said, I was probably about 10 or 11 when I started reading them.
Yeah. Like, because I think part of it is it reminds me of a lot of books that were really similar, I think. Because like I said, I did read a lot of Lemony Snicket, just not this series. So it reminds me of like a lot of other similar books, but I think that's why it's like comforting and fun to watch for me. And also as an adult, like, because I kind of watched some of these episodes when I got a little older and my mom watched them with me. And there's like some kind of like hidden jokes that you don't really realize, and they're pretty funny. Like, and Neil Patrick Harris does a great job. Like, he kind of freaked me out, and I was like, after I watched the series, if I saw him in a commercial or like on How I Met Your Mother reboots, I was like, why does his nose not look bigger? Because I was like so used to seeing him in like his makeup, and I'm just like, who is that?
It's not him.
It's not him. It's not him.
What was that? I'm like, sorry, I'm like, can't read, but it's fine.
Do you want?
So, what were you saying? Sorry.
I was gonna say, do you want to talk about Umbrella Academy real quick?
I was just gonna suggest that because that is one that I have watched as well. Yes. So Umbrella Academy. I'm gonna go right off the bat and say that I want to be Klaus Hargreaves.
Me too.
I want to be him.
Okay.
He is my life goal, which probably is not saying too many good things about me, but it's fine.
Okay, well, we should probably, I feel like this is a really confusing show, so we should give context of like what's going on a little bit.
Yes. So basically how you're gonna have to help me with this because there's so many twists and turns.
Like, I think we're gonna give you the basic plot line that's like important to the rest, because there's a lot of kind of like parallel running plot lines throughout, but we're gonna give you like the basic kind of starter pack, if you will.
Yes. So there's how many kids? There's 6? Are there 6 of them?
I thought there were 7. Oh no.
Are there 7?
I think there was 7. One of them we are told has been dead since like a while before they started filming this. So there are 7 kids, but only 6 of them are alive at this point when you start watching the show.
Yes. So they were all born on the same day, right?
Yeah, so I think they start out by telling you, I forget the exact number. I want to say it was like 86 or 89 women around the world who were not pregnant that morning gave birth on the same day. I think it was like October something.
Yeah.
So around the world, all these women gave birth, and this, I think he was like a millionaire. I forget the exact title they give this man, but his name is Hargreave, and he is a really rich, kind of mean dude. And he tries to adopt as many of them as possible. I believe he ends up with 7. And he doesn't ever give them names. He numbers them 1 through 7. Okay, are we gonna go through all 7 of them? Because I feel like that's gonna be important to us talking about it.
Yeah, so number 1
that's Luther, right?
That's Luther, yeah.
So his, I think, and they all have different powers. So I think Luther, it's super strength, right?
Yes.
Number 2, I'm gonna have to Google this. Hold on.
I know, I can't remember their order. Like, I know all of them.
Yeah, like I know. Oh wait, is that Diego?
Wait.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I think Diego was 2.
Yeah. So number 2 is Diego, and he I think, I don't know exactly his power. He throws knives, and I'm pretty sure his power is like controlling where the knives end up, because he can like throw them one direction and then they go like opposite. Um, number 3 is no, it's the lady. What's her name? Allison.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly what her power's title is, but she like can say, I heard a rumor that, and then she can say something, and whoever she says that to will be like hypnotized into doing what she says. So she said, like, I heard a rumor that you shot yourself in the foot. The person will shoot themselves in the foot. Which, you know, that's kind of cool, but also kind of terrifying, I think. And then number 4 is Klaus. Oh my god, he's my favorite.
I love him so much.
He and number 5 are my favorites.
Yes.
And I think he sees dead people, right?
Yeah, he has, he can bring, well, eventually he can bring, like, dead people, like he can call on ghosts and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, he can see and speak to dead people.
Which is great. And then number 5 never has a name because he kind of like ran away. Like, so his thing is he teleports, and then at like in the first episode or 2, we see that prior to the show's start, he was learning how to like teleport through time. And he traveled back in time, or no, into the future, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
He traveled into the future so far that he couldn't get back, so he like went missing essentially. And he never got a name, so he's just referred to as number 5.
Yes.
And then number 6 is the one who's dead. That's Ben Hargreaves. I don't think we know yet specifically what his power is.
Is it? Didn't he turn into like a monster?
Yeah.
He turned into a monster.
I mean, I think he has the ability. I just Googled it. They're saying that he has the ability to possess monsters from other dimensions. So let's go with that for right now, because for the sake of explanation, that seems simplest.
Yeah.
And then number 7 is Vanya, who, okay, this is a spoiler alert, because you don't find this out till like the end of the first season. So you have been warned. So essentially throughout their childhood, she has been told that she had no powers, and that she was just normal, which obviously meant that her childhood was hard because everyone like basically bullied her. But we later find out that her adoptive father was basically hiding her powers because she was the most powerful and therefore dangerous of the group. I'm looking up like the name of her power because I don't know exactly how to explain it, but
it's kind of like atomic like waves or something. Like, she's essentially like a bomb. Basically.
So this is saying that her powers allow her to manipulate sound waves as she wishes, converting them into energy that can be used in a number of ways, from telekinesis to flight. And the reason we kind of find this out is because she's a violin player, so she kind of uses the violin to sort of direct like this sound wave energy stuff to people to kind of injure them. And that's a lot of the plot of the first season, is kind of her discovering like her true nature and identity, that kind of thing. But it's a good show with a good plot, but I think there's so many funny parts to it as well. It's like
there's a lot of like side plots too that I don't think we have time to get into.
No,
because it's just a lot. But it's just like the first season is like, it's just a very complex show, but it all weaves together pretty well in the first season.
Yeah.
The second season I wasn't very impressed with, and like I was very disappointed.
After I watched it, I was like, we should go watch. Okay, Klaus throughout is 10 out of 10 is all I can say.
He's just a perfect human being, but it's like
Okay, we're just gonna tell you about Klaus real quick because he's both of our favorite characters, so it feels important. Basically he's an addict essentially. He is an alcoholic. I don't think it's never specified what he's addicted to. I think he just does all the drugs.
Yeah, literally any drug.
And we find out that this is because his father was trying. So the adoptive father tries to like train them all, and they kind of become like a crime-stopping family superhero thing. And so he's been training them their whole life. But for his training, since he can see dead people, he basically like left him overnight in a graveyard. And he's like scarred by this. He hates seeing the dead people because they're just everywhere, and he can't make them go away. So when he's high or when he's drunk, he can't see them, I guess, is what we're led to believe. So that's why. And a lot of his relationships are kind of based on people trying to help him get clean and like understand his powers better. Like one of the things I love so much about the show is the relationships between all the siblings, because not all of them are close, but they all have a relationship with each other in some way. And some of the ones with Klaus, like Klaus and Diego and Klaus and number 5, are like my favorite relationships in the entire show.
I mean, Klaus and Ben too, I gotta say. They just
Yeah.
like
That is pretty cool actually. I forgot about that one.
yeah. Okay. So I'm not a big fan of Klaus and Five's relationship, just because I'm not okay, you're gonna kill me, but I'm not a big fan of Five anyways. He kind of irritates me, and he's like, I know, I'm sorry, but he's irritating, and he's like a little too strange for me.
Okay, I mean I feel like number 5.
Mannequin thing in the first season was really weird, you know.
I like how you think it's weird because that was like the funniest part for me. No, I feel like Klaus is like you're either gonna love him or hate him. I personally think he's hilarious because he's basically like a grown man trapped in a little child's body. I don't know. I just think their dynamic is really funny because they're both kind of screwy inside, but they accept each other as being screwy. And they don't try to like change. I don't know. I just find it really entertaining. And I think that what I like about this show is like the relationships between the siblings. Because the second season, I think, had less of that. I don't even want to talk about the second season because
it was like all the siblings weren't together in the second season, and I think that's what made it really difficult, was because there were so many plot lines, and like the siblings just really weren't working together, and there was just a lot of tension, and I feel like it just made Vanya look even worse, and I already felt bad for Vanya because she went through so much crap already, and she was kind of like, spoiler alert, but like kind of felt like more villainy at the end of it, even though it was just because no one would help her because no one understood her or cared to understand her. And then in the second season, they're just like, you know what, we're gonna give you like a lesbian lover, and we're gonna make you look like a homewrecker, and like
well, I mean, okay, but to be fair, I didn't think she looked like a homewrecker because the woman's husband was like abusive, so I didn't feel bad for him at all.
I didn't feel bad for him, but I just don't think it was like a good setup. Like,
I mean, I see what you mean. Yeah. I think the second season was just overall not as good because they like none of them were together, none of them were cooperating with each other. I hope they get back to that in like the third season because I think that just actually got like started to be in production. But I'm hoping in the third season they bring all the siblings back together and maybe like try to help Vanya, because part of what I was hoping for in the first season was that like that they would end up helping her and like loving her for who she is and like, you know, stuff like that. But I really hope it's better, but the first season's definitely worth watching. The second one, I mean, I watched it because I enjoyed it this first season. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not as good as the first season, which again seems to be a reoccurring theme.
I mean, the first season is definitely something that you should go out and watch. What would you? Let's just rate the first season. What would you rate the first season?
I don't know. I don't want to give it a 10 because I did get involved in this fandom as well, as per usual, because who's surprised? But it's not like the best thing I've ever watched. I'm gonna give it like an 8.5 to a 9, just because I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8 as well. I'm like, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I'm trying not to let the second season impact my views, and it's really difficult.
No, that's fair.
I think I would give it an 8 if I hadn't watched the second season. Like, it was really good. I will say it was a little bit difficult to get into at first, but once you got into it, it was really good.
See, I think I was like into it I'm like, oh, there's 80-something women who are pregnant now? Oh, wow. That's
pretty snazzy.
That's impressive. Like, okay, so our last one we're going to talk about is Cobra Kai. So Cobra Kai, over quarantine, my mom found this show, and I watched seasons 1 and 2 with her. Season 3 just came out, like, I think January or something like that. And the first 2 seasons I was really intrigued by. So basically, the context of the show is that it takes place after the movies Karate Kid and like Karate Kid 2 and 3 and all those. And it regards like the main characters, like kids and a lot of karate, as I'm sure you can guess. But it's kind of interesting because I enjoy the Karate Kid movies a little more than I should.
I love the Karate Kid movies. That was like my childhood.
Like, honestly, I kind of hated Ralph Macchio in them, but Mr. Miyagi has my entire heart forever. I love him. But I thought it was kind of interesting to see like a new generation. And also they were kind of showing, because in the original Karate Kid movies, Cobra Kai is like the enemy dojo where everyone's kind of like a bully and like not, the best kind of kid. But in Cobra Kai, it's kind of focused on how one of the like the original main character who went to that dojo is an adult. He has a kid. He's not the best father figure. He wants to like clean up his life, so he starts his dojo up again, and he's trying to like help these kids out more than his sensei did for him. And like he's trying to help them not become bad people. He kind of fails a little, but that's fine.
You can only do so much.
Yeah.
With kids,
but I think it's kind of refreshing to like not have a consistent and obvious evil person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. I haven't seen Cobra Kai yet, so I can't really debate a lot on it. I like you were saying though, with like not having like an obvious like bad guy throughout the entire thing. Like I think that is a good plot, and it kind of I feel like adds more spice to it, for lack of a better word, and like keeps people more interested because you're like.
Yeah, because like who you think is the kind of the enemy at first, like ends up joining with the good guy, and the good guy makes a mistake. So you're like, oh, is he the enemy? And like I just think that's way more compelling. The one thing I do have to say about the show is it is kind of a drama. Like the first season, are some really funny parts, even in the second one, but in the second season, it became a lot more dramatic and like tense and kind of stressful. Which is part of why I'm kind of scared to start season 3. Like I've been putting it off because I don't think I can emotionally do it right now. I have to be in just the right state. I'm in a fragile state. Because like the season 2 finale really got me. I can't tell you because especially since Duca hasn't seen it, I cannot spoil that for you. But like as it was happening, I was literally yelling at the TV, and my mom and I were like, "Is that really happening?" But so I'm not ready to watch season 3 yet, but I'm really hoping that it kind of everything that happened in season 2 kind of gets toned down, and I'm hoping that they kind of take a step back and make it more lighthearted because I cannot take the tense pressure of the occurrences of season 2.
That's fair. Yeah.
My heart can't take it.
I'm sorry that you've been hurt.
It was just like, it was a lot. I really want to tell you, but I really don't want to spoil it because it was like, woo-wee. But no, but I really recommend watching it. Personally, like, I guess I have some roots in karate. Like, when I was little, I hadn't seen Karate Kid when I was little, but I really wanted to do karate. I don't remember why. So I did it for a little while. I was no good at it. So I don't know, the fact that these people are doing like these really amazing things like physically, I'm like, wow. But I think it's like
I wanted to do karate when I was a kid, but I was already too feral. Like that would have not been a good mixture.
I just remember like so
I signed up for ballet instead.
Because that's the same thing. No, I remember when I did it, I wanted to do it so bad, and my mom signed me up for it. And the first class, I didn't have like one of the white like uniform things. I didn't have a belt. I didn't even have like the white belt. I wanted the belt so bad, so I had to go like in like yoga pants and a tank top. And I only lasted, I think, for like a month. And then I was like, I can't. I don't want to, because they were starting off with like the basics. It was really boring. But then I like watched this show, and like I feel like my younger self feels fulfilled watching these people do like these really cool moves and stuff. Like it's fun to watch. It's really stressful at some points, not all throughout, just mostly season 2. I can't speak for season 3 yet because again, I'm not ready for that. And they're only like I think 10 episodes per season, so they're relatively easy watches. And they're like a little over a half hour each. But yeah, it's a good show. Especially if you liked Karate Kid, or if you haven't seen Karate Kid, I would watch it. That's what I did. Like, I watched them. You don't have to watch all three Karate Kids if you don't want to. I think it helps. But I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a solid 6 or 7, I think, just because I'm not a huge fan of dramas. Like, I don't like to be stressed out while watching TV. So, if you like dramas, you're probably going to like this more than me, but I do really enjoy the show. And I'm impressed with all of these as Netflix originals, honestly.
Me too. I'm really impressed with how far Netflix has gone and like the cast that they have. Like,
yeah,
they
like
have some really good casts, as we've talked about, and like, yeah, I'm impressed.
Yeah, I think their casts have improved, their sets have improved, their plots haven't. Because I remember some of the sets looked like they were just straight off of like a kindergarten theater production set,
and they probably were.
Honestly, yeah.
So yeah, don't hate on Netflix originals until you've watched some of the newer ones. That should be your takeaway.
Yeah, I think so.
And
I agree.
That would be your takeaway.
That's our takeaway, at least, and we think it should be yours too.
Well, it has to be their takeaway, but it's fine.
Okay, so Duca says it must be your takeaway. I'm saying I would prefer it was your takeaway. So thank you so much for joining us this week. This was a little bit later than we anticipated, but we're hoping in a couple of weeks our next podcast will come out on time, and we're going to be talking about music, specifically before they were memes, because a lot of the songs that both of us grew up with have become memes or TikTok songs, and we want to talk through that because it's upsetting to us.
I have so many more things to add onto the list because I've been watching so much TikTok over break and like noticing how many songs they've taken. So I'm so excited to debate and like.
I'm excited to see what you add. So if that should intrigue you, to come back in a couple weeks and see what Duca adds to the list, because I know that's what I'm going to come back for.
Oh, that's like the nicest thing anyone said to me.
Oh my god. So thank you for joining us for this week's What's Poppin' with Leah and Duca. We hope we will see you next time.
Yes, see you. Bye-bye.